whenever they ask me, what I considered, taking over this building and bringing a restaurant, I guess the first question, at first they just wanted me to take over. And I guess the expectation was like, oh, it's already established, it's a turnkey ready to go. Can you open next week? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I told them if we come here, it's got to be a whole new experience. You got to start from scratch. And the main thing that led me to renovate the whole restaurant was that if I was going to do it, I wanted, without telling people, how do you erase the previous restaurant's experience or perspective from customers and come with a clean slate? Because when they come in, I don't want them to think, oh, this was the rating. I want them to come here and say, oh, wow, this is Nico's. So that was my, I guess, that's what led me to renovate the whole thing. I wanted customers to have a new experience. So, and to be honest with you, I had a bunch of ideas, but during the process, once you start something, it kind of leads to something else. So we did, I think the only thing we kept intact was the bar. And we just did everything else. The whole pizza section was completely new construction. We updated the kitchen a little bit and just brought it to a better standard that I felt comfortable working out of. The atmospheres that we were trying to create, we had to completely repaint. And I'll tell you what, the biggest example that I can probably tell you was when the rain was, people would come in through the bar side. New experience, let's move the entrance over to this corner. We created a new double door. It's made out of wood. Everything's really nice. I felt like it goes with the downtown. Instead, I think they had like an aluminum frame and just the glass. It was just a basic storefront. And restaurants, the entrance is very important to me. So I figured, hey, let's bring some of this wood, give it more character, and make it a restaurant's entrance. Like if you go to any well-established restaurant anywhere in North Mississippi, they're gonna have a nice two-door, whatever entrance. So that's a new experience for customers. So when they come in, I don't want them to think. And then, we did everything else we actually brought this brick walls that we built. Those, I feel like, came out pretty nice. And it kind of ties in with the old downtown building, because if you notice, there's two columns on that side against that wall. And this building is actually all brick. It's just been kind of covered. So there's a brick wall behind those wooden panels. Us bringing this brick and around the pizza oven, it kind of ties in with it. So that's what I liked about it. And the colors that we picked out and the design just kind of gives you like a more modern, kind of fresh, fun restaurant. So that's what we did.
Was this your first time working with an old, like a historic building?
Yes, and it's been challenging. There's a lot more work. For example, plumbing. We've been working with the plumbing, trying to make sure it's in a good working condition, because the last thing you want is, because I expanded the seating capacity, so the last thing I want is open up and then, have a mess somewhere in the bathroom or the kitchen or something like that. And you have to work with, the structures that is here, and it's a bit challenging. I knew the chances though. I mean, I figured, it's an old building, so, there's a lot of imperfections. So yeah, plumbing is one of them. The electrical part wasn't too bad, but this floor is not even, so it kind of drove me crazy a little bit. And I'm like, I was worried about, oh, these tables are gonna be all wobbly. So what can we do to fix that? If you go to a new construction, you're gonna have that nice flat concrete base, so you don't have to worry about those things. And this wall's at an angle, and I'm like, how do I create my seating arrangement and not have like an awkward looking triangle space here that you can't do nothing with? That was all part of the process.
I guess your brain also thinks about all of those things in the middle of the night. The flow, the
Yep.
traffic.
So I'm very visual. So I have to visual when I'm building or when I'm making decisions on the build out. I have to visualize what will people come in, how do they sit, will they feel comfortable, the sunlight. We got a terrible sunset. You have to worry about people are not going to like that. You know, there's convenience. How do we make it easier for the customer? That's the name of the game, really. Make them feel comfortable, make it easy. Don't make anything that's going to be a problem or, you know, a discomfort. So those are the things that we look at and there's so many different perspectives and ways to, you know, go about it. And we'll tackle it one day and then I'll figure something out the next day and then make those adjustments. So
would you, like, now that you're almost ready here, so would you be excited or not excited about creating another business in another historic building?
I don't know. I'm kind of biased because I don't really think about the next project because I'll think about it if I'm ready at that time.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things that if it feels right, I'll move forward. Yeah. I had this conversation with somebody else, and people don't realize I've turned down 20 options to expand El Agave because either I wasn't ready or I didn't feel comfortable expanding or I didn't want to take that risk. Because it's a lot of work, you know, you're sacrificing a lot of your personal time more than, you know, I was already overworked before and, you know, now it's it's even more. So knowing when to grow was probably my biggest decision before I even considered the next project. Because a lot of people are asking at the time, oh, where's the next El Agave going to be?
You're not ready for that.
And I'm not going to even think about it. You know, it's just whenever I'm ready, and if it feels right, we'll go for it. And if the deal's right, because there's been some situations where like I like a property, it's like, oh, I wish I could be here, but we couldn't negotiate, or it didn't feel right, or either I didn't like the person I was negotiating with. So as much as I like that building, it's not right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just have to have that gut feeling, I guess. That's what a lot of people.
Well, you know, I know that some people, when they, especially if this is their first time working with a building like this, that does have challenges that a new construction wouldn't. You know, some people either get the bug and they love the whole transformation process, or they're like, I'm never doing that again. You know, some people love it, some people.
And yeah, you're right. And
for the bus pulls up.
Yeah, where's that bus gonna park?
But you know, I surround myself with a lot of people that help me, and you know, my mother-in-law helped me decorate this and create this evidence. My construction crew, it was actually his idea to do the brick around the exterior that turned out phenomenal, and Dr. Shares wants us to do the same thing upstairs. You know, so listening to people, because it's not all my ideas. Like, you know, we'll kind of brainstorm some stuff and like, hey, what do you think could work here? And this, okay, that's a good idea, or you know, can you think of something else? And then, you know, it's just a process. It's just not. It wasn't all my decisions, and this is not just me.
It's not just your brainchild.
No.
How many times does the train interrupt your conversations on the phone per day?
Yeah, I guess I try not to think about it, but a lot of times I do step outside to make a phone call, and then the train could, and so go back inside.
Have you gotten to the point now where you don't know, or you barely notice it when it comes through?
I'll notice it. I guess I've never really let it bother me though.
Yeah.
And I guess I hadn't really thought about it while people are dining. But I think with the music, because we do have like speakers everywhere, so I figured, I don't know, maybe.
I think it's charming. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I film at the museum a lot. I've never once had an event or an interview that the train did not come through. And it's just, it's just part of life. It's just part of being here.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I think that it adds to the historic, I guess, charm is what
Yeah.
it just feels right here.
So one of it was actually Dr. San's idea. We were gonna put, and I feel kind of bad not doing it. We just ran out of time. He's got some railroad tracks back behind his house, and we thought about using those for like the footrest around the bar. But I knew it was gonna be a little challenging because I mean that's really thick metal
Yeah.
to work with and how to grind it down. But that would have been a really cool thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, maybe next project.
You know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So you named the restaurant Nico's. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So Nico's, when I was thinking of the concept, I knew I would look at other small towns and I would kind of follow certain restaurants that I personally like that do a good job. I would look at their menu and kind of study what people go for. I mean, we kind of knew what New Orleans is missing because I've talked over with my wife. I talked about with a lot of close friends. I've had people reached out to me before I committed, and they're like, Moses, would you consider doing another restaurant in New Orleans? Like, oh, we love you, we love Agave, but we need something different. And and I just kept it in my head until the moment was right. And coming up with the name, I guess being a downtown builder, and I wanted something short. I wanted something no more than 5 letters, 6. And thinking about the food and what we're trying to do, and I said this many times, I was trying to stay away from labels because I didn't want to be, I knew I was bringing a pizza oven, but I didn't want to be called a pizzeria. And I didn't want it to be, I knew we were going to have some pasta dishes, but I didn't want to be considered an Italian restaurant because I still wanted to have a diverse menu. So Nico's came up, and I liked it because he was, a friend of mine said, it can be American, it can be Spanish, it can be Greek, it can be Italian, it can be anything you want it to be. And my third kid was named Nicolas, and we call him Nico. So it's also very close to, our family. So it just kind of, at that point, it just kind of started making sense because we did consider other names. And it's just one of those things that you just keep it in mind and toss it around and go to sleep thinking about it, wake up thinking about it, and you just kind of check yourself, how do you feel? And Nico's just kind of, and I feel like people really taking it, because when we came up with Agave, you're thinking of it's got to be a Hispanic name for a Mexican restaurant. And I always tell myself, you want to pick something that's easy to pronounce because you'll see some Mexican restaurants and people just butcher the name. So that's always something that I've always, considered. And I thought Nico's is easy to pronounce for anybody. So, and I mean, from what I've heard, people have really taken the name already, even before we've opened the door to the public. So it's generated itself a brand already at at the beginning. So I'm very happy with the name.
I love how methodically you have not said you have not released your menu, and I love that. I'm like,
well,
he is it. You are a mastermind. You
well,
really
the thing is, and if I release the menu, you create an expectation.
Yeah.
So, and everybody is going to have a different expectation. And this is just my personal perspective on it. I don't go to the movies as much as I used to, but I remember there's some movies that you never hear about them and you don't know the storyline. You go in there and you fall in love with it. And then there's other movies that they generate so much marketing and there's so much build up and you kind of know the storyline. You go watch it. Yeah, it was a good movie, but it wasn't really. I always like the ones that you don't really have any expectations and think, oh wow, that was actually a really good movie. It's almost the same thing. I just,
When the trailer ruins the whole, you already know what happens at the end. I'm like, why do I need to go see it? You told me how it ended.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we started posting pictures here towards the end. I thought we were closer to opening, and then it got pushed back a little bit. So I was kind of, because I was watching my timing. But yeah, I prefer to get that expectation. I want people to experience it. That's why I hadn't really posted the menu because once I kept working on it because I keep questioning myself, and I'll start adding items or taking things off. But we got it now. It's just there's no need. I don't see a need to post it.
We know enough. I know that you're a businessman at heart, but do you have a lot of, I mean, like creating a menu, is that your passion? Or are you more of a editing a menu kind of person?
I don't know, a little bit of both. I guess looking back, we do spend a lot of time just on the build out. The menu, I kind of knew what it was going to be. It was just a matter of sitting down and fine tuning it, you know. And you know, I kind of do question, and that's why this is more like a team work process, because I would sit down with Nate and we would just toss ideas, because he's got a same restaurant experience as me, but we have different cuisines, and I'll even talk it over with Jillian or other folks, and we just kind of, you know, play around with it. And you know, everybody I've talked to about it, they're from New Albany, so we all know what we're missing or what we want to provide. And a lot of the items that we picked out was, we didn't want to do a baked potato because you can get a baked potato, a loaded baked potato in every single, you know, steakhouse or, you know, in North Mississippi. So we wanted to do something different. We'll keep some of the stuff that we do know that people want, but we were trying to bring in some items that you couldn't find at the other local restaurants. So that was one process. And you know what's funny is that I was asked to do something. I think it was right before the rating came in. I was asked to bring a bar, bring a restaurant to downtown New Albany. But at that moment, I didn't feel like it wasn't ready. But you know, this time around, it felt different. And I guess where I was and what we're trying to do, and you know, I had all the other restaurants established, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
How are your parents?
They're good. They're still in Albany. They're both retired, so my dad still helps me out around a little bit.
Does he?
So he would ride with me. A lot of times he'll drive, and I'll, you know, work a little bit. And he'll just go hang out at the restaurant. And he's actually he'll come here and he's like, "Oh, y'all about to cook some pizzas?" He'll just kind of stick around, and yeah, but he's a lot of help. But he's not.
He has great experience too. I mean, he was a restaurant.
Yes, but he's really just backed off. Yeah, I think he got to a point where, like, you know, he knew his body was telling him to slow down. So I don't think he'll go back to working anytime. And he's happy where he's at. So.
Yeah. Did your mom ever do any restaurant? She had all the children.
But she cooks every day at home. Though.
Does she?
I know I can go to her house any day. I can be there at 11 or 12, and I know there's a cooked meal.